Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. As you guys know, we've been covering the breaking news story of Katie, Thurston, and Blake Moynes breaking off their engagement yesterday afternoon in a joint Instagram statement. Do me a favor for instant updates. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals, and I'll also be posting my show updates there. Catch me in New York City after Thanksgiving and plenty of other dates coming your way. Go to Dave Neal Community on Facebook to be a part of that private Facebook community. So we have some sources here that say that Blake and Katie definitely tried to make a relationship work before the split. We'll see what those sources have to say about that all. Plus, we'll read some of your comments. And also, Bachelor Data did some statistical analysis on which Bachelor and Bachelorette alumni are still together, who's lasted the longest, and all that jazz. So we'll get into all of that. Definitely hit the subscribe button and follow along. Katie, Thurston, Blake Moynes definitely tried to make a relationship work before split. What went wrong? I mean, of course, everyone's trying to make a relationship work. What a stupid headline. Couldn't go the distance. Bachelor Nation was shocked by the end of Katie and Blake's whirlwind engagement, but the pair did their best to make things work before calling it quits. I guess that's what we always want to know. Like, what did they try to do? You know, it comes out of nowhere. Well, that's because, you know, maybe they wanted to get ahead of all of the incessant updates, you know, from, you know, yours truly over whether or not she's taken him out of her Instagram bio, or she's not wearing the ring, or he's not, you know, whatever the case may be. So then they made the announcement, and that's how things went. They just couldn't make the long-distance relationship work, says the source, the insider. Katie really missed Blake once he left, and they would get into little arguments. But at the end of the day, Katie wished he would be with her more. I mean, look, for what it's worth, I have the same issue with my relationship. Whenever I've got stand-up shows that are out of town, you know, a lot of people enjoy being next to the people that they love. That's never a bad thing. The bad thing, or the thing that makes a relationship not work, is when the frustration that you feel from not being with the other person supersedes the feeling of how you are when you are actually together. You know, you can build this sort of exoskeleton of bitterness. Maybe, you know, Blake's over there in Africa doing some work and traveling, and Katie's, the dopamine high of being the Bachelorette and having her life change. That can be very challenging, not to have the person you love beside you for that. You know, it's not like he lives abroad. These are months at a time, but being it international and being it during a time of pandemic, it does make it very hard for them to see each other. And at some point, if you can't put enough delicacy into that fire you're trying to build, something as simple as a breeze of adversity can blow that out. How about that metaphor? Feeling pretty good, heating up on a Tuesday. And so as you guys know, I do live streams before every episode of The Bachelorette and Bachelor. Today, we've got Michelle Young's episode 2, week 2 of her season of Bachelorette. I'm going to be going live a little bit earlier so I can get to all of your voicemails. I ask people to call in when there's a breakup story. 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. East Coast. I'm going to be going live, playing all of your voicemails, and then we'll get into the proper pre-episode live stream so you can join me there. Just come to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, and all that jazz. So they couldn't make it work. That's not rocket science. Katie really missed Blake, and they'd get into little arguments. I mean, what else is there to say about that? The Canadian's dedication to his career was one of the reasons why Katie fell in love with him during their time together on the ABC reality series. They definitely tried, the source tells us, noting that the split was recent. She didn't want to put on a facade if they truly weren't on the best terms. You got to respect that. You got to respect not wanting to go longer, and she's obviously well aware of the haters that exist out there and not wanting to put on a brave face and a fake facade just to show that they could make it work. She said, you know what? No, if it's not working, it's not working. And this is how it works in real life. You pull the cord on a relationship in real life, but, you know, it's been known that some people have stayed together or called it off but didn't make it public for a while. And she said, no, let's just move on. Time is a ticking. If that was the case, we don't know if she broke up with him or not. Although from this source, it kind of make it seem like that's what the case may be. Katie Thurston is super supportive of his work. So it says that she opened up to her Instagram followers about feeling lonely. Is this like a clip there? Let's see what this says here. Open link in new tab. We'll see what that says there. And yeah, of course you're going to feel lonely. She feels lonely as fiance Blake Moynes works in Africa. So this is just from a few weeks ago. So obviously it's a tough go. She sees him kind of living a pivotal moment in his life, and she can't be a part of it. The biggest thank you to everyone who hung out last night on the live. The 30-year-old wrote on an Instagram story on Monday, reflecting on the many changes she's experienced over the past few months. It can feel lonely moving to a new state, and last night truly felt like a hangout in my living room with you all virtually. Whether you stayed for 2 hours or just a short moment, thank you. So that was just a couple weeks ago. I've had trouble sleeping lately, and this morning was the first time I woke up after getting a solid 8 hours of rest. I'm still trying to navigate this new life and city while seeking normalcy. Very hard to find that normalcy, tell you that much, when you're the Bachelorette, when you're the star of the biggest dating show in the universe. That's what it is, the biggest dating show in the universe. So on Friday night, she performed stand-up for the first time. I'll have a recap of that on Thursday, I believe. The news of this breakup has... actually, I had a recap going up, and it made no sense once I found out they broke up because so much had changed. So we're going to reshoot that recap on Thursday. So make sure to subscribe and stick around for that. We'll talk about what it means to do stand-up and the nerves she might have been feeling, and I'll play a short clip of all that. The short version is we're figuring it out, she said, performing her stand-up routine on Whitney Cummings' Touch Me Tour on Friday, October 22nd, while still wearing her engagement ring. Again, this is several days ago. We don't know. This is very new to us still. I'm just focusing on myself. He's focusing on him. And if we work doing that, great. Could there be a scenario in which she saw that she was waiting for her life to continue while he was continuing his without her? Naturally, that's how work goes. Most couples don't work together. He's working in Africa doing things, not forever. But if she saw that he was continuing with his things, maybe she realized, I need to invest in myself. I need to not be somebody else's just their plus one, but I need to be my own, advocate. We don't know if that's the case. We don't know. So it's one thing for us to politely wonder, but it's another to, we're not going to, we're not going to know exactly what went down. But in the end, the adversity was just not something that they were able to overcome. So she just moved to San Diego. There'll be plenty of comments from people. Let's see, this article was just from a few days ago here. A few weeks ago. We already played that one where she feels lonely. And then this article, Bachelorette's Katie Thurston wore her engagement ring at stand-up gig days before announcing split from Blake Moynes. So yeah, did she have a moment, or did they have a moment when they met? Did she fly to Canada on Saturday? And did they have a face-to-face and realize he's not moving anytime soon? She's not moving anytime soon, and they're just stuck between a rock and a hard place. That could absolutely be what happened. So here are some of your comments. Bachelor Nation was not shocked. I think a lot of people were. I think a lot of people were shocked. There's obviously a faction that didn't really love what their season represented, but then there's a lot of people that saw that they were unapologetically authentic. Someone had commented in my voicemail saying they were imperfect and unpretentious. Neither of them actually wanted a relationship. They both just wanted to win the game of the show. I disagree. She also moved to San Diego, so it's definitely a takes two to tango situation. She wanted him to see her more, but she moved to San Diego. Listen, she was the Bachelorette, right? So I'm not saying that means he has to move to the States, but she's the Bachelorette, so she's kind of, I would lean on the side of he needs to know what she wants out of life before proposing to her. These are tough conversations that need to happen. They do them in the fantasy suite, or they don't, but these conversations have to happen eventually. Definitely tried. It seems like they barely spent time together once the show wrapped. I've seen far more photos of the Paradise couples together and in love. And some people have wondered about the distance. Her moving from Seattle to San Diego is technically farther away from where he's from in Canada, but it's more of an international thing. Like getting into the States, having to deal with visas and immigration and all these different things. It doesn't matter that she's in San Diego. That just means rather than, when he types into orbits that he's going to the States, instead of typing SeaTac airport, he's going to San Diego. So it's negligible difference there. If in any scenario you would rather your fiance be happy in San Diego rather than, not to say that you would necessarily be reigning in the Pacific Northwest, but clearly she was ready to get out of there. So Bachelor Data, doing the Lord's work. If the Lord's work is compiling statistical information about The Bachelor, which it may very well be, posted some updates on Bachelor and Bachelorette relationship lengths. So here it is. Here are the only Bachelor relationships that are still going. Ari and Lauren, he proposed 15 times by now. Sean and Catherine, Matt and Rachel. Not an engagement. They are not engaged, although could be expecting that pretty soon. And then Jason and Molly, which, to be honest, I know nothing about. I know nothing about Jason and Molly. That's a good thing. If we don't know, that means they're doing something right. Bachelorettes, Zach and Tasha. Not Claire and Dale anymore. Rachel and Brian. JoJo and Jordan. A lot of people are surprised that worked out. Des and Chris. And Trista and Ryan, going on 20 years for them. So 5 bachelorettes as opposed to 4 bachelors. As we know, there have been more bachelor seasons than bachelorettes. So statistically, the bachelorettes are probably about doubling the bachelors with the odds. Now here we have bachelor in yellow, bachelorettes in red. This is the how many years the relationship lasted. Ashley and JP was the longest. Of course, they broke up in a heartbreaking fashion. Caitlin and Sean was also pretty long. Becca and Garrett, pretty long. Hannah and Jed, very short. So if we're looking at this, some of the older ones, Bob and Estella, the old names, Eunice and Gertrude. Don't get mad at me, Eunice. You're old. This isn't ageism. No one's named Eunice these days. Although, there's some hipster in Brooklyn that's named Eunice, some 18-month-old. She's going to get bullied as a kid. All right. Uni. Oh, baby Uni. Ari and Becca, that didn't last long. Colton and Cassie, what happened with them? Oh, Colton and Cassie? Really? On her car? And her brother caught him in the alley at 3 a.m.? And then he came out of now he's got a Netflix deal? And he's not even arrested? Wow. What's going on out there? So that's the breakdown. We'll read some comments. Some people had posted that they are surprised. Actually, we don't need to read these comments. Some people posted that they're surprised that Katie and Blake, that Vanessa Grimaldi, am I pronouncing that right? The pizza place heir, that she and Nick Viall actually lasted longer than Katie and Blake. But it's a futile experiment to talk about time, who lasted longer than others. Time's relative, and sometimes you love hard and you love fast and you move on. Sometimes you have a passionate connection that's more physical, or sometimes you have this nice intersection where you love somebody, but you just realize this isn't going to happen. And the other factor that we see with The Bachelor and Bachelorette is that they get fame for the first time. They get their love wells are filled up in different ways. They've built a giant amount of equity with regards to their their following size. So all these things happen, and how do you manage a relationship when your businesses are taking off sort of in different directions? We have Katie here. We see who she's following. And look, there I am. And let's see if we can find, you know what? I guess I can't search for this. Still following Blake's mom. But let's see. Blake starts with a B. We don't see any Blakes in there. Oh, no, she's still following Blake. Okay. Someone had told me that they weren't following each other. They're still following each other. Wouldn't that be nice if they could remain friends? That would be a fantastic thing if they could remain friends. And he is still following Katie. Now, someone had sent me a DM saying they had unfollowed each other. Not true. Still following each other. And I always say it's important if you're really hung up on each other, and maybe they'll get triggered once they start moving on. They'll say, I don't want to follow each other when we move on. But, there could be a scenario in which that they do get back together. There could be a scenario where she decides, you know what? You don't want me enough. Again, this just happened. And he could say, you know what? I do. And I'm committed. I will get on the back of a butterfly and fly my way to San Diego and join the great states of California and the United States of America. There could be a scenario where that happens. He could pull a Dale. Or maybe not. Or maybe they realize they really aren't meant to be. Either way, time is not being wasted, and we'll have to see how it all plays out. I do not expect them to get back together, but I would very much appreciate that if every stone hasn't been unturned in a relationship, that you make sure to unturn every stone. There's no need to go on with life wondering about the what happens or what ifs or what could have been. It's all about the what was and where are we going. We wish them well. 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, we'll have another live stream. And then after the East Coast, at 10 p.m. East Coast, 7 p.m. West Coast. And then after the West Coast, it's confusing. After the episode, live streams will be all night long. Go to my Instagram to figure that out. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Bye now.